King always had that. I can attest that he always had that in him since day one. And if anything, I think success has changed him the least of any player I've ever seen. You're going back to some of the beef. Now, I'll play devil's advocate here. I was sitting at lunch one of these days in the hotel, sitting with my boy, the King, over here, and Seb came by. And Snay said, you know what? Hope you don't take any offense. It's all just games and fun.
Okay.
And, you know, Seb gave him a little... Well, he said something I'm not going to repeat, but, you know, he said it's all respect. I respect it across the board. I do the same thing. So,
okay.
As much as you might think there's bad blood.
I fully believe.
Game recognizes game. Can't deny that.
100%. Seb is exactly the kind of person to take that, and yeah, I'm sure he actually means it when he would be like, you know, I respect it, I would do the same, but like, you cannot tell me he is not using that sort of ammo to galvanize his team and push that tribal mentality that OG used to be able to win 2 TIs in the first place, and they are using that kind of emotion to take on Falcons in this series, where it could determine them being top of their group at the end of it.
Oh yeah, no doubt. He went back to his team and said, guys, if we lose to this Twitter blabber, I'm going to retire again. So this is your last chance to play with me. You better win this series or else. And they are up against a Falcons team with a lot of momentum right now. They've won their last 6 games in a row.
Yes, they have.
And they figured a lot out in that time period. Heroes that are working for them, particularly this mid Sand King that no one seems to be able to stop. Maureen's looked really good on it. OG are going to put that Invoker there, maybe get some extra denies, try and remove some of his mana, slow him down. Honestly, this Invoker has looked pretty successful for, at least to me, the early portions of this tournament. Not just, you know, I think stats say one thing, like, it's not the most successful hero stats-wise, but I think the games where it feels as though teams have a clear idea of what they want to do with it in the early game, it's looked pretty good to me.
Well, it's not looking good right now. Oh my God.
Yeah, that is a brutal.
Maureen just went 4-3 in that first wave. He got every single last hit but one that was underneath the tower.
I mean, he does have significantly higher base damage on this hero. You got to remember that got buffed in some of the recent patches. But that is a rough start for the Invoker. Not a hero you want to lose out on XP early. You're going to do some wave pulling bottom just to get out of this double melee lane versus the out gyro. I think that is the correct call there. And this is maybe the most volatile lane. I would agree with that assessment. You have double ranged heroes versus a Monkey King, though. It is a monkey that can dodge some of the damage. You can mischief dodge the missile or even the wave sometimes. So Tomato's on point. He can keep himself high resources and then maybe set up that Nyx roam top or even Invoker roam top, like the level 6 and 7.
Now, talking about things that have been working for Falcons in this little 6-win streak that they just went on, this is probably the biggest question mark, is Amar, who on that first day did not look like the Amar that we have seen. This was not a dominating offlaner that he usually is. Here he's playing a hero that I just don't really know if it's him. Vengeful Spirit? I mean, first of all, he's never played in a professional match, so this is his debut game, but also the fact that Venge is naturally kind of a sacrificial hero. It doesn't scale particularly well. None of it really says Amar to me.
He's also only silver tier. Isn't this the man who said, if you're not Grandmaster, I'm not picking you the hero?
Yeah.
Should listen to his own advice, perhaps.
Maybe he didn't want to play this hero.
I will say, I think people underestimate, you know, just how good this man's skills translate across the board in Dota, right?
Sure.
When you're that beastly of a laner, when you're that good of a team fighter, you're going to be good on anything.
And frankly, Venge is not that complex of a hero.
No, this is not the most complicated hero that's existed in Dota for a long time. Not the flashiest, some might say.
No.
And I think ATF's going to be just fine here. You also have to remember this was last pick, and a lot of his heroes got banned, so he's giving draft value to the team, right? On one side, you could say, well, we forced ATF to pick a hero that's not in his top 10 and not something he's just going to crush us with on the draft screen. But the flip side is maybe the rest of the team got exactly what they want, which if you look at it, Sand King for Maureen and this Isle Gyro pairing plus Rubik for crit. I mean, these are all signature heroes for the boys here that you gave everybody what they wanted. Okay, you stopped ATF getting maybe a Razor or a Mars, but at what price?
Yeah.
Still, I like what OG brought to this draft. This draft looks very similar to that game 2 yesterday where they recovered against Gaiman. Similar kind of Nyx setup where I feel like if they just get through lanes on even footing and can make that one recovery fight in that 10 to 15 minute mark and get the Nyx's levels, that their scale is really terrifying.
I'll tell you right now, they are not getting through the lanes on even footing.
No, they are not.
They are losing out in CS, and now Amar is taking the first blood. I will say the one thing that maybe I do like about this Venge, it is a lane-dominating, it's built to be a lane-dominating offlaner, and very focused on being able to get more last hits than the enemy, right? I feel like that's actually one of Amar's greatest strengths is the bullying aspect into getting more denies than most other offlaners, and that is something that he has done pretty well so far. They're trying to go for the kill. They're not going to be able to get it. They do manage to get the full Chingu stacks for Tomato to heal back up and stuff, and maybe they even get the Lotus as well.
I honestly think these lanes don't look... Like, the next few minutes here don't look too bad for OG. I think they got out of this bottom lane in a fairly good spot with that double wave pushing into the Doom. This allows for a Nyx rotation.
Can you...
Completely out of mana here.
Can they actually fight Maureen here?
That is a lot of caustic.
That was a lot of creeps dying under the caustic finale. Big AoE damage, and Maureen walks away, having done more damage to OG in a 1v2 than they did to him.
Oh, there's a little all chat as well. Been missing that some of this tournament, but it's back now that they have a winning record, of course.
Of course.
But I think the ice armor for Whisper bottom was a huge turning point in this lane as well. He got ice armor for some of the early waves, tanking a tower, and now he got the Harpy chain lightning. So Whisper, he rolled some good RNG today. He got some really good creeps. It's helping him out down there. And honestly, he's only 200 net worth behind this gyrocopter. Did take that, you know, extra Devour talent. It's going to help him a bit with the charges. But like I said, I think OG got through this off lane. The mid is the biggest concern here with the Sand King pulling decently far ahead. There's some road to recovery here. Again, I just kind of expect OG to be behind in most of these laning phases versus the really lane-dominating European teams.
Sure.
It's just not their strength, so you can't read too much into it, I think. Now, is there potential to snowball? 100%.
Yeah. It's also something to be said that they have their off-lane duo is two heroes that will be able to just produce farm out of nothing, right? Devour and Mana Burn constantly. So over time, there actually should be, you know, start eclipsing their counterparts. Amar's going to be in trouble. Telekinesis toss back onto the two supports, but it doesn't alleviate the problem, which is numbers. OG brought 3 heroes up to the top lane to kill Amar, and it's a trend that I feel like the winning teams against Falcons have put significant effort into tri-laning into Amar in sometime in the first 6 to 8 minutes.
I think it's a good idea. If the mid hero is not going to create some innate pressure on its own, which Sand King doesn't really, why not just go up here and punish ATF? Why not go up here and punish a hero like Venge that does not have a recovery farm mechanic like a Doom, cannot really do ancient stacks?
Yeah, go for back-to-back kills. First with the Nyx Assassin rotation. Now, maybe they're being too bold because they're scaring...
This is obvious.
Yeah, they're scaring Amar back when they have this Invoker.
I mean, you're losing creeps on mid-tower, so...
Yeah.
You know something's up here.
Dire's middle tower
if it were 7 minute, maybe you wouldn't care because you could just go contest that Wisdom Rune as OG, but this did cost you a decent amount of early game. Still, the lanes are stabilizing, and this is what I'm saying. I think as bad as those early waves were, I think the lanes got better for OG over time. The Doom's just going to continue to find creeps. The one gang for the Monkey King really helps him. And Invoker, I feel like, always starts a little slow. Once you just start getting more stats, you get more universal damage. Though BZM running around like this is definitely not very good for his game. He has spent a lot of time.
Burrow Strike comes out just in time. That's one way to use the Sand King and his lane dominance. You're not going to be the best at rotating to side lanes, but TP on an overextension makes things a lot easier. They're going to go back to it with the Invoker rotation on the 7-minute Wisdom Rune. Are they going to be here in time with the Monkey King jumping down? They'll get it. Tomato hops in, hits the 2-man stun, and steals away the Wisdom Rune. They'll get a kill on Amar as well, as Tomato claims that last hit. Very nice swing for OG there.
That is a move I think you could have just made with the Invoker instead of looking for that earlier gank. And it does work out there for OG. They get what they came for. Monkey easily able to rotate in there. You do lose your own Wisdom Rune.
Yeah, Maureen is doing something similar here, diving into Whisper. Whisper hoping that the spam of lightning was going to be able to keep the aggression at bay, but it does not.
Double ganks into this Doom. Whisper not too happy about it.
Is Amar going to get ganked again? What is going on?
These two offlaners getting the treatment.
But I would say Doom is like twice the hero that Venge is when it comes to recovery. Venge is like, you need a strong lane with this hero almost always.
I mean, I 100% agree. You would almost always rather have Doom than Venge in this type of situation. The one upside for Falcons is this pick wasn't predicated on we need this Venge to carry the game. It was more of, you know, swap the gyro who gets doomed and then let the IO gyro carry the game.
Well, tell Lamar that.
Well, he might not like it, but that is the role he's been put in here. And honestly, he's not even that far behind.
No, he's not. He's doing perfectly fine in net worth, despite all the pressure that OG is trying to put on him.
I mean, I'm sure in his mind he's behind. Like, this is the worst game I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
He's ahead of the enemy mid.
3-2. Falcons up by just a small amount of net worth, nothing too major. Seb has come back to the bottom lane where they tried to go on Whisper, and they're still going to go on Whisper here with Malrine showing up. Good cookie to get him out of the sandstorm. Seb takes a bit of damage as well. Ari's actually going to come in with Tomato coming in from behind as well. A bit of split focus here from OG. Can they get the damage on one of these heroes to finish him off? Malrine actually trying to pro strike into things, runs into all of OG. All 5 of them in this bottom lane.
Awkward fight from Malrine. Ends up, I think he could have just gotten away there. Maybe misread the situation. The IO Gyro pair did not want to take that fight into the Jingu stacks Monkey King, and now you have your Doom online. That was before the Doom was level 6. That was kind of your last instance to skirmish down there without the big threat on the Gyro.
And OG just keeping that pace up. Exactly what you would expect from them with the BZM Invoker and the Tomato Monkey King. These guys are gonna get aggressive, turn around Doom, and the damage from Seb might just tick out the Gyrocopters. Yeah, he's gonna die the Doom, and Whisper hides himself away. Snake King can't get the kill, and Whisper gets the double.
Huge turnaround from Whisper. This guy is just so good at recognizing situations, even if you're low, that the enemy's overextended. It gets the punish with the Doom, and now Tomato straight into mid. Falcons crumbling across the map, a 4-man wipe across 3 lanes. They got a tier 1 mid, but big question is, like, where is Malrine in any of this? He is their big early fight taker. You have to take these fights around the towers where he can join them. All of these are just kills. Difficult for him to find impact, amp damage on Tomato. He has been involved in everything here on this early game Monkey, showing the power of this Simian Stride.
OG just breaking Falcons' ankles. Moving around the map too fast for them to be able to keep up, but they're going to do it again here with the Vendetta set up. It's too easy for OG to guarantee both of these kills.
Falcons in trouble right now. I mean, they're just bleeding out a lot of net worth they built up off that laning phase. And Whisper is getting the job done. I mean, I talked about these early creeps. This Harpy Chain Lightning is absurd for a reason. The early Arcane Boots powers it up. It's not only a killing spell, it's a farming spell. He's going to get big here if you keep feeding him these kills on top of the recovery farm. Do you even defend this tower if you're Falcons? I don't think you can. I think you have to give it up. Concede this bottom lane. Doom is coming back up as well in 50 seconds.
Yeah,
so.
Look at Tomato. He still wants to be able to save his safe lane tower and not trade it out. It's a full HP tower, so there's no rush here for Tomato to pop out and try and defend this creep wave. He could wait for his team to take the tower and TP rotate.
I think you give it up. If you're OG, I don't think there's any reason to take the fight into the Sand King unless you're willing to bring everybody. And that can be dangerous because you're going on a tanky target with swap behind him and then this reload that can come in on top of that.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's like the best fight for Falcons. And if you're OG, you just don't want to bite that bait right now, especially since you opened up a lot of this map off this tier 1 bottom. Blink is already online for Whisper here. He's just gonna fight, man.
That's gonna be very problematic for the gyrocopter, right? Because this gyro IO combination is so dependent on sustain, right? The healing that the IO gives you, the satanic buildup that you eventually get, the Doom is just an antithesis to all of that.
You're gonna have a Vessel here as well. So you're gonna have 2 cores with a lot of anti-healing. Oh, that was very greedy.
It was indeed. Tomato, his aggression plays against him this time around. Whisper shows up with his Blink Dagger. Hits crit, doesn't get the initiation he's looking for. Ari's stuck in the middle of nowhere here, and he's gonna burn out underneath the sandstorm unless a cookie can save him. Missile's on its way as well, but it looks like Seb should be able to deal with that. The Bro Strike doesn't quite land onto BZM. BZM throwing out the ice path, but look at crit going in with the stolen jump from the Monkey King, and the help of Snake King's relocate. They do collect finally on that support kill.
That's a very different fight if the Monkey does not die on that rune initially.
Ah, caught him hopping. Crit, trying to get too cheeky with it. Just blasted by a tornado from BZM.
Blink out for Sand King. Maybe showing the pressure Falcons are under in this early game in terms of the rotations and the fighting. Not the first item we've seen from a lot of these mid-Saiyan Kings. Either they want to get greedier with like Bloodstone Rush or, you know, Phase Bloodstone Yules we've seen. This can definitely pay off if you get the big team fight out of it, but it isn't the farming item and it doesn't make you tankier. Those are the downsides here.
Good opening set up by Amar in the first place and forces OG into this awkward engagement.
Another instance where you just walk off that Doom as well.
The Vendetta setup with the kisses and the Sunstrike and Tomato's Boundless Strike will all come together deep on the side of Falcon's base to catch Snake King and Skeeter sleeping.
How did they all get there?
They are just too mobile, man. And the tornado from the side from BZM hits on two. What is this OG team doing? They are overwhelming Falcons right outside of their base. This is insane kind of play from OG right now.
So fast. Falcons nowhere near ready for this kind of aggression in this game one.
You still have a tier 1 mid up and you're diving into tier 3s.
Absolutely no cares. They're playing around this Nyx beautifully. It's one thing when Nyx hunts you. It's another when Nyx hunts you in the Sunstrike with heroes barraging you from multiple angles. That snap ult even got canceled pretty early, and it still didn't matter. This IO Gyro have been hunted this game. And OG have taken a commanding lead out of this laning phase now, up 4K. But it just feels like a difference in pace.
Or what you missed there was Snake King did use the relocate to steal away the Wisdom Rune.
Big
on OG's side of the map, he did die for it, of course.
Still a big win here. You just need the recovery XP. Man, Ari has been on point with this Nyx.
Mamar, he is a slow hero, and he's not making it back to his tower quite fast enough. Snake King's now here with a bit of heal. BZM was there from behind, but because Maureen showed up, he's keeping his distance a little bit. Throws out the EMP. Maureen trying to make his way out of this one with the vessel on him. The cold snap, the swap goes out from Amar. Bailing out Maureen, but now he's going to be the target. Hit by a tornado. Cookie goes forward, stunning up the Venge and getting the kill. Now Tomato hits him with the Boundless Strike and crit blows apart. Doom in deep though. Whisper taking a healthy amount of damage as the Glyph goes out for the tier 2, getting that multi-shot, but the real shots are coming in from Tomato with the Wukong's command that will finish off the Gyrocopter. And now Maureen, he wants the punish on Tomato. Tries to hit it with the Stinger, doesn't get it. Tomato hopping back in. You madman, Tomato. That was just an insanely aggressive play. Unnecessary, my man. Doesn't get punished for it. And OG do all the punishing here.
A fight behind a tier 1, diving a tier 2 into a Sand King Gyro early. An extremely difficult task that OG, once again, they just make it look easy here. This Mage Slayer for the Monkey has definitely paid off. Reducing a lot of the damage makes Tomato really tanky on these dives. You're looking at all the damage from Falcons, it's all magical early. Anything you get up here to reduce it is going to pay dividends in spades, as the pipe is just being rushed here by Whisper and OG. Need I say it, they will not give Falcons any breathing room.
Nice two-man Burrow Strike as a response, though, from Maureen with the Stinger doing heavy damage. Two heroes are almost dead already. Maureen taking a lot, though, from the kisses. Swap will bear him a little bit of time here as Amar pushes forward.
IO buyback. Snake King wants to chase and catch here.
And OG full retreat with the extra numbers after losing their Invoker and a buyback on the IO. Everybody trying to get out. Maureen's a bit low. Ari's going to try and punish it. He hits him. Now Whisper jumping back in with Tomato. A beautiful jump. Skeeter's low. They bought back on an IO for this. Skeeter, he's going to get slowed down as again Tomato is able to hop onto him just a bit more. And Ari trying to set up the impale. A cookie lands. They'll go for snaking. And the shard pushes him on the other side of the gyro to wipe him out to OG. Play together, slay together. That's all they're doing right now.
Every overextension has been punished here, as OG are ready to turn on a dime. Don't even need the big cooldowns. There's no Doom in that fight. It's just getting it done the hard way, and that is a dieback on the IO. Economic damage piling up here for Falcons. As this draft, it just feels like it's running out of steam. Throwing up the damage to bring these heroes down. You're overextending on a Snapfire with Mechanism. It's able to just turn around that high ground. And the stuns from Ari have been on point here. What is going to be the big signal to try and turn this game? If your Falcons got a player on Maureen, feels like he's your only hope to win a big team fight. Level 2 Epicenter.
Trying to set
have that
up.
blink, but the pipe is already done from the Doom. And this really limits Maureen's ability to try and drag this game back for Falcons right now. If you fight around the Doom with the pipe here, the Mage Slayer on the Monkey, if you strike this Sand King, he goes in, uses everything. I don't think they take any damage anymore between the mech, the pipe, the Mage Slayer. It's all going to get negated here. And this map has been constricted. You're looking at the vision right now. There's one deep Radiant Ward mid, but everything else is just, it's dire vision through and through. This ops is nice to play around, but it's a defensive one. And it's one, they're staring at OG sitting in their jungle. Can't really use it. They're getting a Vendetta on the Rubik. That's kind of interesting.
25 kills in 18 minutes. This is perhaps the longest bit of respite that Falcons have had all game long against
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Just relentless aggression of OG, playing very defensively around a tier 2.
I'll tell you one thing. I think people expected this series to maybe go one way or the other, but so far this has just been an outclass in the first 20 minutes here. No way around it. Yeah. Falcons have to pick up the pace. They have to reset this game. Gonna try and make the 5-man smoke. It's instantly
behind
popped.
Breaks the smoke. Not spotted. Snaking knows he's around, drops the sentry. They spot the ward, but they push forward with the rest of their smoked heroes.
That's a tanky Doom.
OG almost gets caught, but a hop away from Tomato and a blink out from Whisper leaves nothing for Falcons to grasp with this smoke.
It's your Venge Ags timing. It's what they're trying to use right now.
And Ari's just still right in the middle of all of them. They keep on spotting him.
The catch is limited, unless you get the swap on him.
Now they hit something. Sapphire. Immediately, a Doom goes out onto the Sand King underneath Sandstorm. So he's dead, but maybe the rest of the team can still come in from Falcons. No, they give up on this, and now they're going to be punished. As Ari came in at right time. Hit him with the Impale on 2, swap out, goes on to Skeeter. OG wants the kill on the carry, and they're going to get it too. They've got the spike carapace to slow him down, and they've got the mobility. The heroes Whisper trying to do some body blocking, but Skeeter doesn't even try to run. He knows he's caught. He knows he's dead. And it might just be Amar who's going to be the last one down, and Aghanim Scepter, his illusion, won't even survive long enough to be able to get the kill on the Sapphire. They get wiped.
What a team fight from OG. Perfect target prioritization. That Wukong separated the fight completely on that ramp, isolated the Sand King under a Doom. Nothing Maureen can do about that. And it goes back to what is the initiation target for Falcons. There isn't any. You're going in with the Sand King on a very tanky support in the Snapfire with mech, with pipe to back him up. You have a bunch of counter initiation. You cannot run through this Wukong because you're just getting hit by Mage Slayer. Crit is instantly killed by the Boundless Strike. His lead has grown to 15k very quickly in this game. Now you're fighting for that 21-minute Wisdom Rune.
Maureen's going to have to hit one hell of an Epicenter Burrow Strike. And even then, you've got pipe to negate that damage. Soon you're going to have a Crimson Guard on the Doom to negate all the flat cannon damage. What's left at that point?
You got to swap somebody. You got to isolate targets here. Your Falcons really use this Venge pick. And so far, it's just not been there. And honestly, I mean, Tomato has been an absolute monster this game. 11-1-9 on this Monkey King. I feel like his buildup has come together perfectly. The Mage Slayer won the early fights. The Desolator is winning this mid game. And this Monkey King shard has looked really good when you can play this aggressive and just get in there.
Oh, yeah.
Been an absolute monster. And this is one of those older carries that traditionally had a pretty good matchup versus Io Gyro. Fell out of favor, but perhaps coming back here, if you can have this sort of net worth ramp up off an insane early game. Already 6 Deso charges, looking at an Aegis.
If he gets BKB and he gets Crimson Guard protected by Whisper, throwing a pipe in there as well, it's impossible to kill him inside of Wukong's command.
I mean, honestly, I'm almost never one to advocate skipping BKB in these games versus all magic heroes, but if there were a game for it, you might be so far ahead here, you could just go some crazy glass cannon Daedalus or something. And there's like, what are you going to do, right? These heroes cannot survive.
Yeah, just one-shot the IO whenever he shows up to a fight.
Oh, he just switched to it.
Did he really? All right.
I think this is the correct read. Yeah, he's just going Daedalus. I mean, what do you need BKB for? You have Aegis, you have Pipe Crimson. There is no damage here. Just annihilate them. Put the nail in the coffin right now before there's any potential to come back. And he buys out the crystal. I love this itemization right here.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You know, maybe this throws like 1 out of 100 games, but it crushes the other 99. And I think it's better to play for the win than trying to avoid the loss. Dota 2. We'll take the BKB on the Invoker as a natural build-up here. Mage Slayer of his own on BZM. I think this Mage Slayer idea from OG is something that you should be looking at and copying and using against things like the mid Sand King, but it's what took heroes like this out of the meta for so long. Things like the Wraith Pact, Pipe being really strong, Mage Slayer when it was, you know, first item purchase and the patch was really strong. Sure, these items get nerfed a little, but they still do their job, which is shut down these flat spellcasters. There's no way around this really.
And Sand King is
Maulering.
nothing but a flat spell.
You can't do anything about it. You can't buy Desolator on Sand King. I mean, you can, but you're going to get reported. So, though now I think of it with this Stinger, that sounds kind of ham.
It does sound pretty interesting.
Could go higher on here for your OG.
Yeah, they've got the Aegis, and they're not finding anything so far in this timing. So Falcons may just end up dodging well enough that OG just says, okay, screw it, we'll go high ground.
Problem with the high ground is this swap is really annoying.
Yeah.
Like, you hit a tower with somebody, you instantly get swapped into chain stun, you're dead 100-0 the first time, and then that fight just sounds impossible. I don't think you can go high ground with this Aegis as much as you would like to here.
Take the remaining tier 2 before they take that venture up there. Immediate punish. Tomato goes up to the high ground, still hits 3 on the boundless strike, and got off the Wukong's command. They couldn't kill him. Now he's inside of his Wukong's command, and there's nothing they can do about it. The 2 supports will die as OG flood the battlefield with heroes, running over multiple Falcons members. They're going to get 4 at the end of it, with the illusion of the Venge dying as well.
And you even got the Doomsteel thrown back onto Whisper. He shrugs it off. This one might just be over, honestly. Like, I don't think your lineup can fight its way back in this game because your scale's predicated on getting the IO Gyro super fat. That window just evaporated off raw aggression from OG, and I think the high ground was difficult, but not when the Venge is dead. Still have Aegis on this monkey. There's your big epicenter combo.
A one-man attempt from Maureen to hold the ground, but it's not good enough. He had no damage backup. He literally just used the full Sand King kit, and there was nothing else. And he brought some heroes down to half, and that's about it. A swap back on Tomato will actually lead to the Aegis expiring here. They deal with the second life. Okay, Maureen's going to buy back. They're going to hit him with the instant stuns, chain him up right next to the fountain. That could be good enough, unless a boundless strike can get him away. Tomato, a hop away to the trees. He's out.
Man, this Shard has done so much work on the offensive and the defensive end.
Top tower has been denied.
And he is...
Oh, Crit's going to get picked off outside of the base. Wait, no, Ari doesn't have quite enough damage.
He's tanky with the Vessel build, though.
Yeah, no Sunstrike comes a bit late there.
I like the heads-up play. He carapissed, trying to reflect the Sunstrike if it had landed.
Invoker, Amar.
I mean, was Invoker the problem? I don't even know if that's true.
I mean, that might just be part of Seb's tactic there.
Yeah,
because then Amar is thinking to himself, well, it wasn't the Invoker, and, you know.
I think Amar has him muted, so I...
Yeah, that's probably true.
I think Amar's had him muted when he was playing with him, too, to be honest.
And that, I mean, that's another part about this interaction, right? Falcons were talking a lot of trash when they were beating teams. One of the teams they did talk trash to in all chat was OG. Seb, perhaps one of the only people who was able to stand his ground against a winning Falcons team, did so. Had a pretty good zinger. Something about winning TIs Falcons haven't done yet. OG, a blast on Amar. Amar looking for a swap, but it's not looking good. He's walking back into a Wukong's command setup from Tomato. He goes for the swap to the right-hand side, but still dies. He has his illusion to play with, but no targets for the immediate pickoff. Looks for Tomato. Tomato pops out of the trees real quick. Doesn't want to get isolated again. Even if he survived last time, it was still a bit of a close call without BKB.
And you gotta swap somebody in here.
It's your only option at this point. Hits the Burrow Strike only on one. Maureen right in the middle, just hoping the Sandstorm will do enough, but he gets blown up too quickly. The damage is overwhelming from OG at this point. And with a dieback, a GG is called. Falcons. G bringing the speed. That's what the panel thinks is going to happen in this game too. And well, history showed that game 1 OG certainly ran over Falcons, and Falcons also got run over by Gaming Gladiators, probably the other fastest Western European team, and they did it off of Chen. Avery, this is already looking a bit dark here for Falcons.
Why are you so pessimistic, man?
It's just my nature. What can I say?
Look at the upside.
I try and balance out your relentlessly optimistic nature. Your sunny personality that you bring to the cast.
I might be surprised. I've never heard that before. But
Can't escape
I will say I like this primal pick. I think when you get crushed in a game and you feel like momentum's against you, the pace is against you, you can't get anything going for you. It's hard to kill heroes. You don't have the damage. Primal, I feel, is one of those heroes you can go back to in Dota 2 that just gives it. It just gives it to you, man. You just got it. It just gives you the damage. It gives you the pace. The hero's not going to get run over. You're never going to lose with primal and be like, oh, we didn't have a mid who could make stuff happen.
X going to give it to you?
Yeah, he's just going to give it to you. And I like the Falcons went back for that because it tells me they identified a lot of the issues they had in that game one. They went for a support duo with a lot of easy spells to throw out a lot of damage, a lot of follow-up.
Oh, he has to burrow strike level 1, and it's walking away limping.
Already sad for him. This is not the level 1 burrow strike you want to take versus a primal beast.
Yeah.
I think Maureen can 1v5 this game.
Okay.
With the supports behind him, with 2 other cores that are fairly independent and are going to scale with damage. That's the part I really like for what Falcons got here. I agree, though, the 5-man ball from OG in that mid-game looks pretty scary. If you get a pipe up on this Brew or something, the Chen has auras, the Nyx gets levels that we've seen Ari find again and again. There's a lot for Falcons to fight through and a lot of HP to get through with Morphling in front of all of this. It's just so much stat gain, so much resistance. Could be tough. I thought they were going to ban the Nyx, honestly. It's getting to the point where I think you should consider it versus what OG are doing with it. Because they get through the laning stage. It seems like good positions every time with these double melee lanes. And when that's happening, you have to start thinking about which of these heroes gives them the biggest payoff as a reward for that, rather than, you know, hey, we're going to beat this Nyx on lane, because they don't care about it.
Do you think that Nyx Assassin is a bannable hero against any other team? Or maybe even for any other team. I think the banning Nyx is not a bad idea just because of OG's success and how I think Falcons is a bit exposed to it. But we've seen some Nyxes at this tournament that just don't do anything, right? They just get run over by, you know, this 5-man clump lineup like Gaming Gladiators did.
You have to identify
their Nyxes
for sure. I think Chen does have some really bad matchups in the meta. Like, Pipe can be difficult for this hero. The early Roshans can be really difficult for this hero. But if you're playing versus a team like Falcons that kind of likes to maybe dominate lanes and then just kill you over and over and not rush down those objectives, I think it's not a bad matchup. I also think Ari has been laning better with this hero than a lot of other people. He's pulling waves to camps and then mind flaring the camp while he's pulling the wave.
Right.
So he's kind of winning the lane for his offlaner because the equilibrium, as we see here, is going into Whisper with these double waves that build up. And he's also getting his own XP and farm off these camps that he's running next to. It's a very smart way to use this hero on the laning stage that has proved to work pretty well for OG here, as, yeah, Whisper loses some early CS, but Whisper is the kind of player you can put in this position and he'll always find something out of it.
Now, what did you make of the Brewmaster pickup? The panel was not terribly enthused by it, but they did find some points about the Brewmaster that they liked.
Yeah, I'm not big on it. I think there was something better there. I think they wanted an aura buy, or they wanted something that is maybe annoying in the team fight for, like, Maiden trying to channel, Primal trying to channel. At the same time, though, my feeling on this hero has not been super hot. I think a lot of these games, it feels as though Brew is just a worse aura carrier than some of these other big meaty boys.
Have you been watching a lot of Liquid games?
No, I wouldn't pull them out of the hat necessarily, but...
Seb, he'll pick up the first blood, and the battle continues on the mid lane as well. Despite that early bit of harassment, you could see Maureen was trying to get the punish on BZM, trying to kick him out of lane. Ultimately, the Sand King and a melee on matchup is winning out in CS and will probably continue to do so.
Got to keep pulling his waves for Whisper. Is falling behind a large amount in that CS, so this is the exchange with this Nyx for OG. You're going to get the Nyx in the mid game, you're going to get some farm up the Mind Flare, but your offlaner is going to suffer. Whereas Amar, he's free farming down here. Some mana burn coming out from the Chen with the early Satyr creep, which is nice. Tomato also free farming down here, so maybe OG are okay with this exchange, as this Morph is going to turn the Timber spells against him later on. And there's a lot of good stuff to steal in this game.
Yeah.
And it is Tomato's best hero from a stats perspective, right?
100%.
I think he would say that. The Tomato morph lane, no joke, gotta respect it.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Looking
attack.
forward to seeing which hero Seb will tell Falcons to ban for the next time they meet.
That's true.
They did ban the Invoker, so I guess he got in their head.
Look at Malrine. He's trying to pull the creep wave. He can't deal with the matchup anymore. BZM's almost back up to full HP, and the Sandstorm plus Stinger plus Caustic Finale. It's just too oppressive. So he's going to be kind of limping along, but the side lanes are doing well for Falcons. 26-9 for Amar. And on probably his best hero, perhaps. What would you say Amar's best hero is?
It's Timbersaw, right?
Yeah. Think more so than the Mars?
Yeah. Well,
There's something about the versatility of Amar's.
Yeah,
Like he's able to win with the Mars so many different ways.
I think his Timber is his best, though, relative to other people on it. Like, I think the gap between what he does with his hero compared to everybody else is bigger than the Mars.
Yeah.
And if maybe the Mars is better from a what does it do for our team perspective.
Yeah. And that is somebody who has been a little MIA when Falcons have been losing games. We said in that last game, frankly, Venge, it's just not him. It's just not. It's not the personality of the player. And I was not a big fan of it. We'll see now that he's back in his comfort zone, what kind of havoc he can wreak on OG as Ari's going to find himself being wrecked as the support rotation comes down, trying to punish this constant pulling that he's doing.
Gotta shut him down a little bit on these. He's getting a decent amount of jungle farm. We'll create a little space for Whisper, but again, he's not really getting anything off this lane, and he will be the one really suffering out of this laning phase for OG. It's gonna come down to BZM and Tomato to pull back the team fights for him at some point. Maybe you can get a 6 on the Brewmaster and just use the ult for the utility strength, but again, I don't feel like these sacked Brewmasters have been winning too many games from this type of position.
I do
put a
wonder
lot of weight on the other two cores.
What happens if Ari, who's sacrificing a decent amount of his experience, like what happens if their wisdom room gets stolen away, or they don't manage to get kills like this, which BCM making the rotation helps them get a support kill. That goes a long ways. We saw Ari was able to get a lot of experience in a very brief period of time thanks to all the kills that OG was racking up. But I do wonder if there's a point to Tomato. Yeah, he's kind of just stuck. Never-ending damage between Amar and Malrine.
Reddit. That is Amar, man. Give him a lane with this hero, and he takes it. He kills your enemy carry. He takes your tower, and he's highest net worth in the game. Scary position to find yourself in if you're OG, given signature hero to ATF and giving him this kind of start. Gonna force BZM down here just to defend the tower, but Falcons can bring numbers and go on this Sand King. This is not an impenetrable defense when you have somebody as tanky as this Timbersaw with double bracer and reactive armor build up.
OG also has a little bit of numbers. Seb is going to come across and try and help out. They're diving for BZM. They'll get their claws on him. The Primal Beast starts slamming him down, and the Whirling Death makes short work of that Sand King HP. And Whisper's even going to be frostbitten and run down the top lane. So the lane's going very well for Falcons now as they start moving their cores around a little bit and are demolishing OG on the kills. Doesn't change too much in the net worth, it seems, but they are getting some work done.
Yeah, but look at where Whisper is. I mean, some of that you're making it up on the supports. But this lane, he just got nothing out of it. He's going to be a walking urn. Can put his own ashes in that urn, I suppose.
Yeah, it could be.
Continues to get dove. I mean, that's some of the product of this Gyro Maiden lane, too. Very aggressive lane, very easy to create a kill threat. Really need the Brewmaster 6 here. You're not challenging this lane. We'll rotate the Morphling in mid to create a little bit of tower pressure. Gets a good chunk of that tier 1 mid. Falcon's a little slow to defend it.
It was a good choice by Tomato. Being pushed out of his safe lane, he says, okay, if the Timbersaw's just going to be AFK there, Morphling's probably the #1 carry for getting some early damage on towers.
But if there's one thing you could go back to, Austin, it's finding Crystal Maiden in the jungle.
That classic.
Ooh, it is a classic, man. I love seeing me some Crystal Maiden feeding.
Slowest hero.
I'll be honest, at this point in my career, I don't even know why I hate this hero so much. I just do. It's just one of those things. I think every Dota player has it, you know.
Yeah. He's just been inundated with so many Crystal Maiden deaths over 10 years of Dota that
Dire's top tower is under attack.
you've just become an institutionalized Crystal Maiden hater.
It's the Mooseby, man. I just can't get over this.
I don't know what I hate about this hero. No, I know what I hate about this hero.
It's the Mooseby. It's the
She's so
stats,
slow.
It's the lack of armor. It's the low base damage. Starting HP.
Dire's top
Other than
battery
that,
is
though,
under attack.
I don't have any issue with it.
Dire's top tower.
Another tower for Tomato. No pressure going into this Morphling after that death bottom. Able to get some objectives back for OG, open up the map.
Yeah,
give them some
why is
breathing room.
Falcons not being as aggressive? I would have expected the Primal Beast just be looking for any fight.
Yeah, I feel like Maureen could have just rotated these towers. Maybe they're afraid of the Brew 6 right now, but this is just going to be another Maiden death. It's the third death for Snake King.
You know what the funny part? I've never thought about this, but Crystal Maiden is incentivized to go to the jungle because of Frostbite. To get that extra bit of farm sometimes, and that's exactly where she is most likely to get killed because she's so damn slow. 10-minute power rune. They'll spawn top an arcane rune. Big
OG
pickup.
really prioritizing these runes. And Seb's just been farming, man. He already has mech up, level 6, Hand to God online. That tornado, that hurricane did not do him any favors there.
Barely bumps into a Maureen.
Wow, that
Catches
was
up to Seb, gets that quick kill.
incredibly unlucky. Was not his hurricane. That was a neutral
Dire's
hurricane.
middle tower.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
No.
So Seb, he should have converted that
Dire's
creep, I
middle
guess.
tower has fallen.
Misplayed that situation horribly. What can you do? Sometimes,
brother.
Gabe just says you will die now. Still some recovery to be done here for OG because, man, has Amar found a lot here in the first 10 minutes of this game. We're gonna get a
Recovery
replay
for the cores specifically, right?
Yes. And this is the kind of damage I'm talking about, right? Like, you're just going straight through a mech gen like it's nothing here on this Primal Beast.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a fast Eternal Shroud on the Primal. You're going to have an Eternal Shroud on the Timber, too. So the two tanky boys for Falcons building up the magic resistance. Kind of similar to the double Mage Slayer last game versus that Sand King. They're going to have double Eternal Shroud versus this Sand King. Might be problematic for OG. Again, trying to abuse the fact this hero can't really build damage up in any of the other ways here.
And every other hero on their team is going to throw out a decent amount of magic damage as well. So this is just going to be a constant problem for OG.
Radiant's middle
You have some
tower
ways to
is
deal with
under
it.
attack.
The downside of the Eternal Shrouds is they are not BKBs, which means the Nyx with his chain stunning becomes a bit more effective. The Morphling can, steal timber spells, throw Whirling Death back into your strength heroes. It's
Radiant
pretty
are
effective here.
scanning.
There are some mechanisms for OG to battle against those two Shrouds, but you would like to fight before they come out here if you're OG, especially with Vessel done on Whisper. He really needs the catch-up experience, and you got that Blink Dagger done on the Sand King, so they're looking for it here, but nobody's home.
Feel like we're going back in time just a little bit. Primal Beast, Timbersaw, another strength hero. Sand King really wasn't. Well, I guess Sand King, yeah, there was that Aghanim phase, but Eternal Shrouds for big tanky boys, and both teams are looking at it like, well, they're gonna run out of damage because we have Pipe, Eternal Shroud, etc., and we're just gonna be in for some long-form team fights where people are just crashing into each other, but nobody's quite dying.
Radiant are scanning.
Because right now it seems like we are not going to be having that kind of blistering a pace from either team,
Dire's bottom tower
as both seem pretty content to just give up potential objectives and get the occasional kill here. Damage going out on Maureen. Can handle it, seems. We'll be able to get the burst on Ahri before he goes, though, thanks to the help of crit from the long-range shot. But it is the Brewmaster ultimate that still remains the dominant team fight mechanism, and something that Falcons can't really fight into.
Hit off more than he could chew there. The exact type of engagement OG are looking for. They get to use their Brewmaster ulti, get some more Vessel charges, and early Vlads on this Morphling is going to help OG fight as well. Or look towards the objectives. Roshan can go down really fast here for OG.
Primal
if you
Split
do
is
heroes.
really strong when it's up, but when it's not, Whisper's got to be a bit careful.
You got to look towards Amar here if you're Falcons to pay back the start he's had in these fights, because start is slipping away a little. Like, this Sand King is very close. Morphling's finding a lot here. I feel like these fights don't get much better for Falcons here in the next 5 minutes or so. I mean, you're going to finish your Shrouds, but
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
They're
you
looking
might have to
for
contest Roche with them as opposed to just snowballing with them. And in fact, you find yourself down 1,000 net worth right now off of what was a really good laning stage.
a large part of that net worth is just the difference in the cores, or supports rather. I mean, the Chen Nyx Assassin are so much farther ahead of the
fumbled the
Hoodwink
charge.
Crystal Maiden. They would actually be up 2 or 3K on Falcons if it wasn't for that.
Benefit of the farming supports here. ATF's going to try and force a little support kill. Won't get it.
Dire's top
Doesn't
tower
want
is
to
under attack.
go out there too far. Doesn't have the tankiest build because he has the Kaya, so hasn't worked towards that Eternal Shroud just yet.
I mean, Falcons are in a fine spot, but it doesn't feel like this game is flowing how they want it to. In terms of how we've seen them use these heroes like the Primal and the Timber. You know, they've just demolished teams with these kind of lamps. Like, the game, we've seen games be over at this point. In terms of how fast they can run those lanes, kill the cores, get up fast items, then they're just unkillable.
Do you think there's something...
Stalling out a little here.
Do you think there's something going on with, like, Falcons, I think, is playing slower than they usually do. BB team, they're playing very slow. They seem to just be playing pretty scared, almost. Nyx Assassin gets spotted, but actually, shot from crit isn't quite enough damage, and they are afraid of the Primal Split that they're walking into, so they can't actually chase after the kill. Despite catching the Nyx Assassin, can't do the damage.
I do think this Nyx is forcing them to clump and play a little more defensive than they'd like. Just kind of an innate factor that goes on when you're playing against this hero.
Yeah.
And we saw like the one aggressive move mid from Maureen that backfired, so maybe he's a little tentative. He's going to try and make a similar one mid. It's just not a hero you can burst down.
Snaking walks a bit close to the Morphling, immediately gets frostbitten. That was quite the misstep there from Snaking.
See, again, just kind of a forced move.
Yeah.
The Falcons don't really know where to go and how to use their strength right now. You've got almost 3,000 gold on Amar. You will buy out towards this Eternal Shroud. But you're not finding a lot of map pressure. In fact, if you look at the lanes, all three are either in or not being farmed by Falcons. It's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
And their vision is pretty defensive as well. The rewards for them that are all on their side of the map. Again, it speaks to they just can't get some aggression going with these heroes that I felt we've seen them do it all year round. Suddenly, Sand King, top net worth in the game. BZM found a decent amount this time, and you know he's gonna have his Eternal Shroud done before the other two big boys do here. I don't think it's as effective this game, but it is good versus everybody on Falcons outside of, you know, this Primal Timber going in and bursting you, which so far just hasn't been that consistent.
Yeah, they've done it like once or twice, so they've shown they can kill the Sand King. And I thought that was going to be the really interesting point of Timbersaw versus Sand King. We've seen in the games Sand King successful. There is usually a problem with being able to burst him fast enough.
They do get the Vessel on crit. That helps go into the healing here behind that frontliner and versus the Morphling.
They're going to need the charges because they need to put this Vessel to work onto the Morphling. They go into Tomato here, but it does not pay out.
I just can't get these ganks to work.
We do get some reaction out of OG, though. And that's not the worst thing.
For sure. Shroud is finished on that Primal now. You have the levels on the supports. Love to start getting some kills. Power up that Vessel on the Hoodwink here. Nyx continuing to hunt them. Falcons continuing to group. Don't want to give up that pick off. Still looking around this mid lane that has been a problem for them to push in and get information off of. Oh, the channel.
He's going to go for it. Blowing up the Hoodwink immediately and got the slowdown on Snaking as well. So both supports will be run down.
It feels like every time Falcons have gone to this mid lane, it has been death for them. That's where their vision is, but just can't get any sort of valuable connection here. And meanwhile, every time you make one of these moves and it fails, somewhere on the map, Seb is just farming and pushing it in, and he's getting top lane in, continuing to get big on this Chen. I mean, I know this man likes to buy every aura item in the game. He might buy every aura item in the game.
He really is. He's going to have a pipe soon.
Oh, give me some ice armor too. This is Roche on here.
Yep.
If I'm OG, I'm going straight into the Roche with these two heroes.
Falcons are not in the best position to be able to contest.
This is a very fast Roche with the Vlad's Penitence. And one you're not going to lose HP on. So if you do want to contest the Falcons, you have to go now. And you got to just get in there.
They did seem to have the early read. And while they weren't in the best map position, they're getting there now.
This is fast enough.
Yep, they'll be here to stop it.
Missing heroes.
Now BZM doesn't want to leave a sandstorm. Malrine coming in from behind actually gets a grab onto Tomato. Now he's morphing into strength, so it's not going to be a fast kill they were hoping for, but they'll get the collection on Seb after a bit of mech action. Whisper charging in. They do manage to hit the Burrow Strike on a crit with a Primal Split. They'll easily run down that 4 position. And the Sand King hasn't taken much damage yet underneath both the Chakram and the Freezing Field. He's proven to be quite tanky. Another Whirling Death. A Burrow Strike lands on the 2 of them. Not too bad despite Carapace gets some additional stuns. Malrine still strong enough to keep tromping forward though. Tomato is run out of damage. He's going to have to more strength. Waveform farther away. He's out of mana here. And he's going to have to hope that Timber Chains will get him far enough away from this situation. But I think he's kind of stuck. At the end of the day, Malrine and Skeeter were able to just kind of push through that team fight and clean up the rest.
ATF did a lot of damage there with these Whirling Deaths. Even if you're able to bring him down with the Burrow Strike into the Impale, damage was done. And the sustain adding up here for Falcons. Also just a numbers game. I mean, they were there with 5-on-3, take the Chen down first for free. That's a huge deal when you lose Seb and all those auras, all that healing behind OG. That is the best target Falcons could find. So it was a Roche that was a little greedy based on where heroes were on the map. I thought it would go faster as well, but they ended up paying a big price. Not bringing everybody to this initial objective.
Yeah, imagine what a difference it would have been if in this situation, BZM starts getting gone on with his shield rune. You have the addition of Chen heal, Gen auras.
I mean, Ari arrives now. You know, if he's there with Carapace to cancel that Maiden ulti or cancel an Onslaught through, that's a huge difference there.
Yeah.
They will lose their Morphling, their prize Morphling as a result.
Big pickup for Falcons. And OG, while they still get the Roche on the other side of the map, it is Falcons who get a decent amount elsewhere. They managed to take the mid tower. They pushed in a lot of lanes. And maybe could have caught Whisper. Amar gets stuck in the trees, though.
Looking for the fight. I don't think they care about the Aegis too much. Looking for anything they can find on the map, crossing it with off the smoke, looking for some stragglers.
They're going to run into the Nyx Assassin. So now it's Falcons who are doing the 5-manning across the map, and we'll see how OG want to be able to respond to that. Now, they're already pretty well set up. You can see 4 different heroes on 4 different parts of the map, all trying to farm efficiently. What is this Wisdom Rune stacking that's going on here?
Seb's saving it for somebody. I mean, you definitely want to give it to the Morphling or the Nyx. I think their levels are the most valuable here.
You don't think higher levels of, like if you put it on the Brewmaster and try and get level 18 as quick as possible?
Nah,
No?
I'll be honest, I don't think Brewmaster matters in this game. Like, he's just going in, he's vessaling some guy, and he's trying to toss the gyro. That's his impact. The fights are going to get carried from the Morphling and the Sand King's damage, and Nyx getting multiple rounds of spells off. Morphling needs to be as strong for OG as possible. That is the end-all, be-all. Just what their lineup functions around. And they'll give 1 to each, so hey, my call wasn't too bad.
Okay.
It's level 12 for the Nyx. Tomato continues to power up here. Would be surprised if they don't try and push and fight with this Aegis. Pipe done on the Chen will also enable that to a large degree.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot of things. Pipe, Manta, Fresh Shard. Yeah. It's time to go if you're OG.
I mean, if you take this tier 2 top, you could poke high ground. Force Falcons back. Make them fight into your Sand King, into the Chen auras. That's a tough fight. And if it goes bad, you're just raxing them. It's pretty tempting here. They're going to look for the pick-off first. Shield Rune bottom. Snaking, you are in no man's land. He will deny the rune, though. A heroic effort.
Good work, Snake.
But this man's about to eat his 8th death of the game. Not been a fun one for him.
No, not at all.
It just keeps getting better.
But Skeeter with 0, so you know.
Yeah, and only 1
shielded
death
the
on the other
carry.
2 cores, so
He did his job, I guess.
yeah, the support's playing a very sacrificial role for Falcons in this game.
I do wonder if it'll add up at some point, though.
Oh, Malrine gets caught. Trying to TP away. Now, he still has an onslaught, but a TP in from the other side from Ari. He'll provide the stuns for his cores to catch back up. and get this kill.
He's a tanky boy. Not alone. Those are the pickoffs OG's looking for that'll lead into some tower push. Got some skeleton rally on mid from Seb. Start hitting these tier 2s if you want to. Really surprised they're not, actually. I'm just looking for more. Looking for the lanes, looking for the kills. Don't care about the towers right now. Did go back for the BKB on ATF. I guess towers are just dead to the creeps. Never mind.
The rally, man.
Yeah, it's powerful.
And Whisper's already kicking in that top lane as well. Half HP tier 2. But that's, I thought,
through the map.
yeah, I thought they were going to head up there, but it looks like they want to play for the right side instead.
They're just farming everything, and this is the support net worth differential. It's going to add up here. Cannot fall too far behind on this Hoodwink Maiden. You're just going to be playing fights 3 or 4 on 5. These 2 supports from OG can continue to scale really well, find a lot of impact here. The Hoodwink can as well. We've seen Crit dominate some of the mid and late game team fights with this hero, but he's the poorest hero in the game right now.
Yeah, this Nyx Assassin Chen combination is pretty nasty. The strength of the 5-man Chen, who's taking all of your neutral camps and farming all of them with his team. But then the natural response would that be to split push other lanes, right? And like try and get the lanes out and then farm the enemy side of the map. But Falcons just can't get out there because the Nyx Assassin would always be hunting them. So they're just kind of always left with less farm than OG. No camps to farm on their side of the map. Unable to push out the side lanes very far. And it seems not very confident in taking the team fight right now against an Aegis for another 25 seconds. Falcons probably shouldn't be looking for an engagement.
They also really want the Shivas on Malrine. It's a huge damage power spike as well as just letting him tank the front line, so maybe you can hold the BKB on the other cores a bit longer. Really need to isolate a good core target here for Falcons and bring him down with the burst damage, fight under your vision.
He does have the Aegis, so this is just a casual poke. He'll back away as the Aegis starts expiring, so Tomato can get back to full HP. Guaranteed BKB done, though. So Falcons have delayed it long enough for Shiva's BKB. Do you think they're confident now about taking the 5-on-5?
They should be. I mean, this is the best power point you're going to get for a long time. ATF, he wants to fight, man. He knows he's strong. He has Gem. He can frontline. You just have to find that opening. Got to get the initiation off the Primal Beast. I feel like if you let Sand King get to the Bloodstone here, it's gonna be tough to just run into him with the auras behind him.
Count him up. So many auras. Grab on Sand King, immediately denied by the adaptive strike. BCM pulled back in by the bushwhack, trying to get away, but he's just stuck in this muck and cannot seem to get out. They got the pick off of the Sand King. The Primal Split is used though, and Tomato jumps forward to kill the Crystal Main, put some damage back onto Malrine. At half HP, Falcons are able to reset on their cores. 2 supports for Sand King and a Primal Split used. Are Falcons happy with that?
Yeah, I think so. Kind of hard to tell, but I feel like their supports have been suffering, and that Sand King is the highest net worth hero in the game, so...
Yeah, what's a little bit more pain and misery?
Yeah, they'll be up in no time. Benefit of the low levels here.
That's true, that's true.
And that hand I got healed him for so much there.
Dire's top tower
Crazy
is under
how
attack.
much healing you have to get through here for Falcons, and you have, you know, a vessel to help you in a whirling death. That's kind of it, though. The rest is just damage you're throwing into the brick wall. They just need more damage here if you're Falcons. You need it wherever you can get it.
Open up on the Timber Saw, half HP already. A huge amount of burst damage from OG. But they can't quite get the kill, and now Malrine comes back in for a bit of punish, though going on to a Morphling. He's already morphed to strength primarily. Not a great target for them, especially with all the auras behind the Morphling. It turns that 5,000 HP into like an effective HP of like 10k, so let's not even bother.
You can see both these sides. They have a lot of HP to get through here. You really have to be careful about who you commit on and how much you commit on them. If you throw your initial volley and it doesn't bring that target down, the other team's going to try and turn on you. That's where your supports can bleed out some quick deaths, and then you're at a numbers disadvantage. 4 staves seem really good for both teams here. Generally, these kind of games where you're playing with these really tanky frontliners, 4 staves and glimmer capes, these types of items shine because it lets you just disengage the guy the enemy commits on and then re-engage as a full unit. Saw the Hurricane Pike from Tomato. Would not be surprised to see a bit more.
Big push out from Falcons. Not with the smoke, though. Ari spots him coming. It's the Spike Carapace and the Vendetta.
It's so hard to catch him, man.
Yeah, that facet is very annoying.
And since you didn't go the BKB on the Primal, you can't just like charge in as Maureen and guarantee a full duration polarize or something.
Sure.
More aggression for Tomato with Daedalus and that Bloodstone coming for BZM. I mean, OG, they got to be happy about how they're scaling up here. This next Roshan is going to be a very solid chance to just go high ground with some overwhelming power. All the ores behind you. Seb back to playing 3 position here. Didn't take him long. In his element.
He really is. He's going to go for Crimson Guard, so that change to Crimson Guard having a bit of an effect here. Even though he's not a strength hero, he's going to have so many items that HP-wise, he'll get some decent value out of that Crimson Guard active.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Big DD rune top.
Got him on the onslaught Spike Carapace to stop the charge away from Maureen. Trying to force this fight really badly, want to take this fight. A Primal splits just straight up, trying to catch Falcons in the river here. Doesn't quite work.
Wants to force the BKB. Did get the Dispel and the Amp damage rune as well. But no latch, no catch.
And this has got to be an opportunity for Falcons, right? I mean, they use Primal Split.
Yeah, this is an opening. Again, though, you just don't have catch your own. The blink is arriving for Mallory, so that will guarantee it here off the smoke. And it should be a more reliable play than the others we've seen throughout this game. They will scan their own high ground. They know someone was leaving the vicinity. Just got to blink in and look for the Primal ult. But again, a lot can interrupt that. It's not guaranteed here for Mallory.
It'd be so good if they ran into the Sand King. But if they ran into the Nyx Assassin, they might kill him. Spike Carapace, and Yules, they will get this kill. But it definitely is not the most valuable.
Gotta look towards this Radiant Roshan. Remember, it went down here at the end of that last interval.
It's true.
You gotta protect this area if you're OG and Falcons. If you can secure more of this zone, D-ward, get your own vision up, prepare for this objective, it is up. Surprised they're not checking them. They check it now with snaking.
BZM's in a very interesting spot to be able to contest, too.
This is a dangerous contest with the amount of AoE from both teams.
TP coming in. Maureen sees it, challenges it. Has to be canceled. He blinks forward, catches the Chen instead. OG, they are way too split at this point. BZM might be an interesting spot, but how does the rest of the team follow that? How do they get into that position? So BZM pops out and will go for the split push. They've lost their Chen. There goes all their team fights. They have to forfeit the Roshan and just push out the lanes.
They had a dire ward on that Brewmaster top, so the second he cancels that TP, Falcons know where he is, know how far away he is. OG getting caught on the map. As what they had controlled is quickly taken away from them, and that is not an Aegis they wanted to lose here.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And Omar, of course, sensing the game is turning a bit to their favor, immediately has something to say about it.
It finishes a Hex as well. So the initiation that has been difficult for them all game, starting to come together with that blink on the Primal and a Hex on Timber.
You always notice that Amar is always going to do the most all-chatting with some of his former teammates.
There's a lot of former teammates in this game.
Oh, yeah.
OG will have to settle for a Tormentor, finish up the Bloodstone, the Sand King. Shard for the Nyx. I guess it's not too bad here.
Yeah.
Extra damage.
I mean, especially when you have a Morphling, you can put such a heavy amount of single target magic damage.
Still looking towards 4 stats here, though. I feel like OG need at least 1 or 2 more, maybe. Just so you can kite out the initial go from the 2 Strength Cores and re-engage. Otherwise, you're kind of just sitting ducks. Like, you go on this Sand King, even if BZM lives or the Morphling lives, it can give an opening for Falcons to find the Chen find the nicks, and then the second they're down, that team fight's a lot more difficult for OG.
Yeah, but Force Staff isn't an aura item, so
Well, let's
Seb's
say,
not going to go for it.
but Force Staff saves the guy with the aura items.
It's true, and that's why he told Ari to build it. He said, you buy a Force Staff, you save me, the aura guy.
That's true.
Yeah, Ari being a nuisance as always, but they have answers to him now. Getting that Blink Dagger, also Gem, and frankly, just better map control will lead to more pickoffs on the Nyx Assassin. A kill that is actually worth quite a pretty penny there. 850 gold for that.
See, crit buys a glimmer cape. He knows what's up. He's not going for any Daedalus shenanigans. This game's about saving your frontliners. Just got to keep them alive. Keep them going. OG have not found anything in a long time here.
But you were okay with their scaling, right? On the side of OG. So this
If they were
shouldn't
getting
be
the
too
Aegises.
concerning.
I feel like with this Chen lineup, you want every Roshan. I think that's a big component. The fact they lost that Roshan, I think hurts them a lot.
I
Just
do
giving
always kind of
Falcons
find
so
it
much time.
weird to talk about Chen lineups and scaling because Chen naturally falls off, but oftentimes the rest of the team is still going to scale pretty well. So
But there is still some wild card factors here. Like if you go in with Morphling, you got to remember this gyro matchup. You can steal Flat Cannon and turn it around against Falcons as well.
Yep.
If you're looking for more physical rather than trying to get Whirling Death combinations off. It's a big component here to the late game team fight for OG if they want to look for it. They'll
By
find Snake
Snake
again.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
now Ari is immediately getting jumped on as well. They managed to hit the onslaught onto Tomato. So Tomato is quite low. They got him on the scythe as well. Now he's morphed into strength and he's going to be okay turning into the gyrocopter. But all strength up, those flat cannon champs aren't going to do very enough. BZM's doing a lot with the epicenter though, and it's whittling away at Skeeter's HP. They'll bring him down the first time.
Can Falcons regroup here? They bought back the Maiden. Second
Jump
life on
back
the
in
gyro.
from Malrine and a dive from Amar. They go for Seb. Clean him up. A BKB activated from Skeeter will sound the retreat for OG. His BZM does manage to get the blink out just in time. Whisper is going to be going back into regular form, blinking away immediately. Malrine blinks after them, finds Tomato. Gets a grab on him. He's going to wait for him over to the side, but both Malrine and Amar, very adept heroes at chasing. Looks like he's waveformed up out of sight and TP's away successfully.
Hurricane Pike has saved Tomato in a lot of these situations. OG, they find the Aegis. They get a buyback on the Maiden. It's still a lost team fight, however, as Falcons continue to maintain some map control here.
This'll come in handy.
Feels like the second that Chen goes down, it's just a very different situation for OG if you can't hold that front line. So much depends on who breaks formation first here. Need to continue to try and build up the damage to break the enemy before they break you. For OG, that's got to come from the Morphling, and if you're Falcons, I think it can come from all three of your cores a bit here. They have that going for them for sure.
Daedalus plus level 20 Morphling. It's not going to do enough to change. We finally see Falcons go back for that Tormentor that they failed to do with just a three-man team. Do it a second time, and it works, and they're rewarded with rocks.
Radiant are scanning.
A box of rocks.
I mean, this Daedalus is nice. Like, you have Daedalus BKB Morph now with a Nemesis Curse. If you can steal the Flat Cannon, which we saw him going for, and just pump all that physical into Falcons, there's not a lot to mitigate it.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot of effective hits from Morphling in a very brief period of time. If he flat cannons everything, and then he also waveforms over some heroes, we're talking about like 10 plus shots from the Morphling all at once. Ari stopping some of the initiation with a spike carapace, but it's also with his body. That body's gonna get obliterated. What a jump in from BZM though. A big hit, a burrow strike that leads Skeeter low. Tomato is struggling to finish him off though. The Satanic heals Skeeter back up to full. Their opportunity to burst down the heroes is lost, and Skeeter is now full up, but Amar is not. And they go back for Skeeter. Now the Satanic is no longer there. It seems that Tomato does have the damage indeed to take down a second life.
Tomato did not lose any HP off that initial exchange, so he's able to come in for round two, whereas Skeeter does not have a second Satanic there. Makes all the difference. And that is the power of the Flat Cannon Steel. You look at the DPS coming out in this fight, I'll tell you, it's Tomato and nobody else here. As good as the stuns were, it is all the Morphling. Just so much getting pumped through here, and they're just throwing all the buffs on him. But still some beautiful stun action from OG is straight back into it.
Real game, though. We have a fight on the triangle. Whisper is in trouble. He's already dead. And 7 Tomato getting on out of here.
Oh, shot him.
So despite getting the kill on Skeeter, Falcons showing that they're not afraid to keep the fight going.
This tricore from Falcons is going to be scary. I think maybe the gyro is like the weaker of the 3.
It might,
in a way, because he's giving the best spell to the Morphling and maybe doing the least damage at this point. It's this Primal Timber combination you have to worry about. A lot to get through them, and if you commit and they don't die, then you're in trouble. Really got to use your stuns well, and you have to play around Tomato at this point. And if Tomato ever gets burst by Falcons, let's say they find him at the start of the fight, they don't even have to kill him. If they just find him with Pulverized Timbersaw, remove a lot of his HP, force the Morphling to morph up,
yeah,
that can be good enough to win the fight here for Falcons at this point, because I think OG are extremely dependent on his damage.
And that's going to be particularly effective when you get level 25 on the Primal Beast, right? I would just be targeting Morphling every single time, because he doesn't have a Lincolns. There's nothing to stop you from grabbing him.
I mean, I'm targeting him no matter what. There is no other real damage threat at this point in the game.
Yeah.
And like I said, you don't have to worry about almost killing him anymore. If you force him to morph, it's good enough for you to take the extended fight.
And we've seen how OG, as brilliant as some of those stuns were from BCM and Ari, they did not do any damage. It was just entirely setting up Tomato to do all of the work.
Yeah, you have triple BKB now.
So what do you do in this sort of like 4 protect 1 when you only have 1 damage dealer as the game goes on? How does OG play and build to try and set up Tomato's Morphling for success?
I think that's why those Roshans are so important. Like, 2 lives on this guy goes a long way. Extra refresher shards or ags for the team to help him deal the damage go a really long way here. Level 25 talent would be nice. He does split apart that Vlad's for Satanic on the Morphling, so he can maybe hold his stacking a bit longer and just heal up.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more of a second life, but they want the actual second life in the Aegis. Both teams setting up for Roshan.
Oh,
they're going to clash into each other here. Ari's going to break the smoke. Burrow Strike lands in. They get out the Primal Split. Falcons pretty grouped up, but they have their BKBs, and it seems like they're weathering through the damage decently. Tomato's throwing out those flat cannon shots. Skeeter starts getting low. Where's the Satanic? He's already used it. He's going to die. Used the Satanic early, it seems, and left him with no longevity in the team fight.
I almost think they get baited a bit by Sand going in, because he's like dealing damage, but he's not killing them, right? And it just got all the BKBs and all of the survivability out from Falcons immediately with that hit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're getting stunned, we're getting chain stunned. We gotta do something here. That freed up the second half of that fight for Tomato, who again, he's just not challenged. There's nobody attacking this Morphling, nobody reducing his HP.
Where's the Pulverize?
Very nice positioning from BZM though. He gets a 2-core burrow to start it off. Just sets up a lot of the damage. They do bring him down.
Oh, he pulverizes the Sand King.
Yep. And that just lets Tomato go ham. Gets the flat steal again, and I mean, that's not a challenge Skeeter is winning. OG also do a decent job focusing the support, so that is a 1 Roshan fight, pushing this Morphling towards level 25, towards that Butterfly, which would be a huge damage upgrade. The exact type of engagement OG needed to stay in this game and not fall behind.
Well, one problem's going to be is that Maureen, I guess they can't let that initiation happen. There's 2 Lotus Orbs that are going to be put on the Morphling at all times. So he may want to wait out those Lotus Orbs to try and pulverize, but by that point, Tomato's probably already kind of won the engagement.
I mean, honestly, I think the biggest factor is preventing this flag steal. I almost feel you don't want to go in right away with the gyro.
Yeah.
Like, make Tomato choose between stealing somebody else and then you engage, or not dealing as much damage right at the start, or put a Lincoln's on this gyro or something.
Spotted Ari. Try and catch up to him. The rocks! The rocks! He hit him.
Yeah.
And he spots him, and he grabs him, and he kills him.
Here, but yeah, I guess that talent.
It's one of the first times I've seen the Tormentor Shard pay off for the Primal Beast.
That was pretty good. I mean, now you really want to land this ultra long pulverize on the Morphling if you can.
Catching up to Seb.
Buyback from the
Pick off, perhaps hurting it Amar. Amar immediately BKB, TPing out. And we'll be fine here. Whisper, they smoke up to try and get to Whisper. Whisper does have a refresher, pops a primal split. He'll survive. Gyrocopter trying to slow down the push here from OG. Catching up though. Burrow Strike lands onto Skeeter. Skeeter has to pop his BKB. Got the pulverize. No, immediately tornadoed up. So now Tomato is full up as a Gyrocopter, ready to do some flat cannon shots. He just needs something to hit. He starts hitting up. The shots start going over to Skeeter as well with a Vessel on him. On top of that, Amar getting stunned up, unable to move right now. Gets a Timberjane across to the side. Whisper gets run down. Chakra running him out of it. Amar trying to stay away from this Morphling. The Morphling goes instead for the Primal Beast. Maureen gets a brief onslaught away. Another Frostbite. Bounce back there with the Lotus Orb. Hit Snake King. They finish up the Primal Beast. And BZM, RE just continually playing around Tomato, setting him up. Hitting stun after stun so their damage dealer can go to work.
That's a costly fight for OG, though. Double buyback committed between the Nyx and the Brewmaster, and you use your refresher shard. So it's like 3 lives on this Brew to be able to set that fight up for your Morphling, but you still have Aegis for 2 minutes here, and you can continue to push. Banner will guarantee that as well. If Falcons can hold here, they might not be too sad with the overall exchange, but they might have to commit the Primal buyback.
Oh, 2-man Burrow Strike, immediate buyback from the Primal Beast.
Gotta catch something.
Can they get the punish here? But the Shiva slowing him down. The Chakram also being a nuisance. Onslaughts hits onto a couple heroes. Immediately grabs the Nyx Assassin, blows him up. No stuns. Wait, no. He gets got by Amar, who timber chains through to the backline once again, gunning for Zeb like he always has. Pops his BKB at the threat of the Morphling, continues to go for the kill, and they've got the supports, leaving the Morphling for last, who is fully morphed up into strength and has an Aegis. They are ignoring him right now, letting him do whatever, because they want to chase down every other member of OG, and they'll get almost every single one of them. The Primal Beast, or excuse me, the Brewmaster is able to slip away into the night, and Tomato,
go home,
his second life, will be able to BKB TP away.
Really nice idea for the fight from Falcons. They wanted something off this Primal Beast buyback, and they got it there. Dieback on the Nyx Assassin. They got both supports out of the fight early, which allows them to commit long term. That Epicenter slows them up, but they just let the Aegis basically expire on its own. Again, if you force that Morph to go up into the strength, he's not that big of a threat. You can just Glimmer Cape kite him out at the end. No detection on Tomato to commit for the support kill. And nothing left to hit.
Whisper had all those extra lives before. Right now, all he has is Primal Split.
This is an awkward situation. There's no buyback here.
Radiant's middle tower.
Yeah, it looks like Falcons maybe could have tried to rout him.
Yeah, he's just stuck on the map, but they're just going to go high ground. Tomato trying to bait an illusion. I don't think they're going to bite that, but
backdoor protection goes up, stalls the push just a little bit.
That fight did give Skeeter Butterfly, this Ancient Guardian, and level 5.
Oh, they're trying to catch the creep wave with the courier. It's not going to work, though.
I mean, these guys played with 33, so they know what's up.
Yeah.
But tower defended. Glyph used, but happy to make that exchange, and game restabilizes here as OG still down a decent amount of net worth between these core matchups. But a lot comes down to how much the Morphling gets done. I mean, are we getting to the point where you need Divine Rapier here? If you're Tomato. It feels like it soon. It's going to think about the Swift Blink, but it's not the most insane damage upgrade. You need to create a situation where you force Falcons to try and burst you down or you kill them all. Because if that damage threat is not high enough, as we saw in that last fight, they're just going to ignore you.
What's better than a Divine Rapier, though?
No, 2 Divine Rapiers.
Amp damage on a Morphle. The most effective hero to take it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, luck is pretty good.
Yeah, I was expecting actually some sort of bottom play or something, just because it doesn't look like they're going to get any sort of immediate action out of it. So damage wasted.
Bloodthorn. I mean, that is another like super high single target damage ramp. We saw him struggling to bring down the Timber or the Primal in, you know, the one-on-one, so to say. Dealing a decent amount of damage with the AoE flak, but man, these 2 cores are tanky on the front line. Now you're just looking at the HP levels. This Primal has 5,500 HP, by the way, and he's almost finished with a heart. So if Maureen gets the heart here, I mean, good luck touching this man. It feels impossible.
I mean, the tank meta is what Falcons were riding so many of their tournament victories to. And they bring it back for this game 2 against OG and seem to be outscaling OG with it. You do get the Bloodthorn on the Morphling, but this is one of the last items that Morphling can get. You're really capping out at this point.
Yeah, he bought out for that, sold boots as well. So he really is all in on, I'm going to go in the fight and make those first 5 seconds count. This is an insane amount of single target burst now compared to what it was before, which definitely helps try and bring down these big targets, but man, it is spooky to go in with this Bloodthorn BKB, try and commit on one of these 2 frontliners from Falcons, because if it goes wrong, you're just screwed.
Okay, you get level 25 on Sand King, and I was like, oh, this is a big level. The 35% Sandstorm, I think the slow is maybe bigger than the blind at this point in time, because Primal Beast and Timbersaw don't care about
They don't care. This is maybe one of the worst games for this talent. It's still incredibly good. I don't think this talent is ever bad. Move slow is debilitating. I don't think the pulses do anything here because the magic resist is so high, so you don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
It'll just be 5-on-5 smoke action. Both teams would love to fight under their vision if possible.
Oh, just a little bit more damage for the Morphling with an Alpha Wolf now. An extra 30%. He's hitting for 600 damage a hit.
I mean, that's nice, but are you looking at this Primal Beast? Like, I think you need a bit more, man. He's got 6k HP with 120 base regen. I wish you luck.
A Scythe, a Force Staff gets Whisper away. They get the grab onto BZM instead, but the Load Storm helping to protect him. The 2 tanky frontliners are dealing with the damage from Tomato right now and trying to put it back onto the Sand King, but that's not quite working. So they start backing away, and Tomato is now turned into the Gyrocopter. Gotta beware of that flat cannon. And Skater's being a little left alone here inside the river. That's not a good place for him to be. He pops BKB, Satanic gets back up to full. It gets some damage onto Tomato. He has to morph up strength. He's about half. BZM trying to get out of the river. Bull strike away. Amar goes for the chase. Hits a whirling death. Does a lot of damage. Another one's coming up soon. But Amar is losing out on HP a little bit here. It'll be enough to kill the Sand King and chase after Tomato, though. Tomato no longer doing any damage with full-on morph strength. Grab him. Never mind. Onslaught him. Put another Urn Vessel on him. He has to waveform on out. The support's trying to give up their lives. Another rock lands. A bushwhack to combo it off a tree that set up the Timber Chain into him, and they get the kill. He all in for a Bloodthorn, and there is no buyback now for Tomato.
The Primal Beast Shard. Some call it useless, but Maureen would win a game with it here. As 85 seconds, no Morphling,
it would
no
be
buyback.
Straight up end of the game if it wasn't for the fact that Brewmaster has kept the mid lane pushed in.
They have a bottom wave here, and it's a catapult wave. Can't just cut this with any of your heroes.
No, they tried to do it with couriers. It was immediately denied by Falcons. Whisper will try and cut what the 3rd incoming wave, but the first 2 have not been dealt with. And Falcons, do they go for the throat?
Oh yeah, you're going down here.
You ignore the tier 3 straight to the tier 4s and take advantage of the fact that OG may not have buybacks, and at some point it's going to be all but guaranteed in Falcons' mind that Tomato is not coming back to save this base.
Radiant's middle tower is falling.
Another tier 4, no buybacks at all. Backdoor protection, it's not coming up in time. Falcons are going to close out the game 2 and casually kill the Brewmaster while they do it.
What a comeback for them.
Backdoor protection went back up. I think they have the damage to punch through it, but the Sand King's coming back out of play. Maybe they're not going to be able to close this out.
Yeah, what is happening right now?
The creep waves.
The Sandstorm blind?
No longer being there anymore. Maybe the Sandstorm blind is just what they need to be able to hold this one. Falcons have to retreat, and that means they got the tier 4s, but they didn't get the throne. They didn't get any barracks out of this situation either. Whisper saves the game by cutting the creep waves, and the backdoor protection comes in, and the last 5 seconds required to give OG a second chance.
Okay, well, I thought that was just over, but apparently not, as OG will live to fight one more time in this game. You still don't have buyback on these heroes. It cost you another Brewmaster one. You lost 20k net worth advantage there. And I guess the real big question is, I mean, one problem for that last fight is Tomato went in. He goes in with the Bloodthorn. Amar had Ags. Absolutely just debilitated the first half of that fight for Tomato completely. He was not aware of that. I don't know what you do versus either of these frontliners if you're OG. Your lineup just lacks the late game punch to get through it. That's where I was pointing towards things like Divine Rapier or something, because what is your trajectory? Like, what is your pathway to win an engagement?
Is it possible that they take the same... They take the play out of Falcons' book and they just try and, okay, let's hit the supports first and the gyrocopter, kill those, and just see if we can...
Yeah, I think that is probably your only route. You gotta find Skeeter, take him down, and you gotta find these supports, take them out, and then end in a situation where your control is alive between the Knicks and Sand Kings, so you can just, you know, chain stun this Primal at the end and slowly kill him. That's probably what a successful team fight looks like. The thing is, if you're Falcons and you kind of understand this, you're just gonna send your two boys in first, right?
Yeah, it's like easy just to
madman
run
charge.
the Primal Beast and Timber Saw into the heroes.
That's why Primal's a very obnoxious late game hero to play against, because he often doesn't give you a good choice. He's difficult to ignore. You feel like you have to go on him, but you can't go on him. You can't get around him sometimes to get on his team. This will be an Aegis, though, for Tomato. That definitely helps a lot, because now he doesn't have to morph up initially.
Yes.
He can just play pure on Agi, see what that gets him the first time around, save his BKB.
Refresher for Whisper was gotten off of that as well. 26,000 net worth lead, Falcons. I mean, they've been playing this game pretty slow the entire time. They seem very content with their progress towards the late game, and I'm sure they have no problem waiting out an Aegis, so it's up to OG to take the pace away from Falcons and force something here. Refresher for Amar, even more tankiness as he goes in with that Aghanim Scepter.
So farmed. This might be an all-in push for OG right now, because no buybacks.
Get a little pull in here. Lotus Orbs bouncing back a lot of spells, but they're going to take down the Aegis with really not that much committed.
He morphed up, too.
Yeah, he's not going to have very much damage. He comes back in, waveforms, puts the Bloodthorn out, meaty BKB from Amar, and he goes back. They focus on the rest of OG. They start looking at BZM. BZM pops his BKB, gets off the epicenter inside of the Sandstorm, but of course these heroes are mobile enough to get away from all that. And they go for the next assassin. Oh, it's Primal Beast a little bit locked up. Bro Shrike hits him. They're trying, but Maureen is so damn tanky. He activates his Aghanim Scepter, just damage goes out. They just cannot do enough to kill a single tanky boy, and there's two of them demolishing the fight. That has got to be the game now, as there is no buyback for the Morphling or the Brewmaster. Now Falcons can go and end the game.
Dude, how does Crit land a Bushwhack on Morphling in that fight when every other tree is cut down? It's so hard to get trees to stay up here. He finds it, and that's all she wrote. The second that Morphling gets stunned without the Aegis, you get hexed up from one of these other cores, you're just gone. Just not enough damage available to OG to get through the front line here.
And just like we saw from Whisper, BZM will try and do the same. Dive outside of the base, kill the creep wave, hope that somehow the backdoor protection will stay up for a minute. It's never going to happen.